Public Land Hustle 2.0. Welcome, episode 2. Antelope, Idaho, do-it-yourself, drought year, no water, no green, no alfalfa, antelope dispersed. Come along, guys. We're going to take you through this little story and try to put the pieces together.
Every time we raise the heat, farther, faster, higher, stronger. What seemed impossible to beat, someone is bound to make it look easy.
Guys, welcome to fall 2021. I'm rocking, you probably can't see this, you will see it in the daylight. This is the new Mathews 2022. We're doing a little testing with it. I ordered the 29. It'll be available in a 33 and a 29, so I'm told. Initial thoughts, it's awesome. It's shooting really tight groups. I'm very familiar with the Mathews system. They're just really high country antelope. My ground blind trail cam is telling me there ain't nothing happening. It's a drought year and it's the worst I've ever seen down here. Most of the places that get agricultural water, if you don't have your water rights established, you had to turn your water off. So it was surprising how many folks had to turn their water off so they're not irrigating. And so that's really condensing a lot of the antelope to chunks of private we've never hunted, and some chunks of private that we can't really even hunt the fringes. So we're going to be hunting alpine antelope, for lack of a better term. We're going to figure it out. We're going to sort it out. Today was a recon day. I hung 3 or 4 trail cameras that the antelope weren't in their usual haunts. And we're just going to pivot. We're going to have fun. I'm going to show you our camp spot tomorrow. We're not like at a campground, but I absolutely love where we're camping. I'll give you guys a tour tomorrow at some point. But we're going to eat and go to bed. We'll look over some countries, so we'll see you in the morning.
So I didn't tell you guys this, it's a surprise, but I put this broadhead, I got one in my quiver. It's an evolution. It's very accurate. And then I have a Grim Reaper Micro Hades 3-blade. We're gonna go hunt the Tyler buck. Good morning. My opening day for antelope. I'm hunting. Right now I'm looking for one buck that kind of lives up here. Now I'm going to cut the distance about 600 yards, peek over the edge, hopefully not get skylighted or anything, and see what they do. There's some topography, but it's not much, so we're going to have to see. The doe started feeding at 85, and then I just couldn't get a range without exposing myself. I had the rangefinder turned this way. I clicked him at 85 a couple times, but he was looking straight at me. He picked off something. The does were oblivious. I thought maybe he would chill out and start feeding, but he never did. And then one of the does decided, let's get out of here. And so they just took off. But been out in the sun for about 2 hours. No backpack, no water. And that's the Tyler buck, 85 yards. So that big buck and the herd, they just kind of moseyed on. And I just kept kind of paralleling them, and they never made mistakes. They stayed in the flattest of the flattest. I couldn't get an approach. So found 6 other bucks in that area several miles away, which is good. We'll be checking them out tomorrow. Tonight, I just came off the mountain. I'm going to hunt lower country. Day 3 has us down off these pivots with slides. The slide game. Ground blind wars. This is my slide I'm hunting. Pretty much covered up. 40 yards out. They come from there in the evening.
That's Tyler's blind at the other slide. Should be bald.
Shooter buck with 3 does. I'll get my trekking pole here in a second. It's gonna leave a mark. Hi, little buddy. Watch out, Jake. I'm gonna flop him on the road. September 3rd this morning. Kind of a bust. No elk. Set a cell phone trail. Plenty of elk sign. Nice little mule deer, up and comer. And it's just so hot. I can't believe it. It's in the 80s. So I'm gonna go home. My wife's having knee surgery. And so I'm gonna go home for that. It wasn't the plan, but I think it's a good call. And we'll come back. Give it, 4 or 5 days. I heard 0 bugles. Saw 7 bulls together. Saw a pile of antelope today. So I got the itch. Just located a herd. I'm making a stalk. This will be my hoorah, final hoorah.
Cool lighting, spine interview, post-production. This is what we have to do when we don't film well enough to fill in the gaps to keep the story going. So I'm gonna interrupt right now to be like, okay, so have you caught up to speed? 6 straight days of antelope hunting during drought conditions. It's been tough. A couple of blown stalks, all self-filmed. Not a lot of footage. Did have a cameraman come down, but we went elk hunting instead because we ran out of time for antelope. Elk hunting was terrible, so I decided to go home. My wife was having surgery on her knee. She was getting it scoped, and the kids were just starting school. So I decided to go home, but first I had to stop and see if I could make one more play at antelope, and that's what you just saw me say right there. What you're not gonna see is that me basically hanging out with a herd of 21 antelope for the next 2-3 hours and finally getting one killed spot and stalk in Idaho. No. We didn't get it on camera. I didn't even, at that point, I just wanted to get a shot off. I wanted to get an antelope killed. I wanted to punch my tag. I wanted to secure antelope meat. So what you're about to see is immediately after I make the shot, I turn the camera on and we'll take it from there. We don't always get kills on camera. This is, ElkShape channel is about keeping it real. I do pay and hire cameramen, but not always do they schedules line up. And honestly, my concern is always just to get meat in the freezer and not at the expense of, did you get it on camera? But we're gonna keep trying. We got a few more hunts coming up. We got a few more cameramen. We got some epic footage to go through. Let's get back to the public land hustle.
I just successfully spot and stalked an antelope. I couldn't be any happier. He's not a monster. But I have antelope meat back on the menu. Elk hunting is hard. We'll be back. Yeah. Guys, I'm so happy. First for me, I've never stalked antelope in September. Never. Today I went elk hunting. I charged so hard. I did 6 mile out and then a 6 mile back. I did 12 miles. I was at 15 or 16,000 steps by like 10 a.m. I realized that the bulls are still bastard up. I haven't heard a bugle where I've been elk hunting at all. I saw 7 bulls yesterday all together, and they're not patternable, so you know what? It was just eating me alive not having punched my antelope tag. That's how much I love antelope meat. So I was just like, dude, today's your last day. Just come back down to the valley floor, which I'm not. I'm probably sitting at 8,000 feet. And this is the highest I've ever killed an antelope. And I was on this buck and he had 22 does and a little guy came by and they had a standoff. And that gave me enough time to slip out, come around, and then he fed right through here, got to a tree, ranged him at 81, slid down, made a 10, and he literally dropped right here, right where I shot him. I'm looking at the tree I shot him from, and I got antelope meat back on the menu, which I'm super stoked. So it's not terribly hot, the sun is setting, but I am going to go ahead and just pull the guts out, get them cooled off right away, get them game bags, and I'm actually gonna drive home tonight. My wife has surgery on her knee in a couple days, and I want to surprise her that I'm coming home. She didn't think I was. So I'll go home for a few days, pay her a visit, recharge my batteries, and I've been out here for 10 days, 6 of them antelope hunting. Glad to finally bust out the new bow, and proving grounds right here. Super stoked. The other buck left, and then he started feeding, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's a draw I can just wrap around. Sure enough, wrapped around, got to my last piece of cover, 80, 82, and then 81, and then he was just broadside, and I knew I could shoot standing. I knew that he was holding still. I knew that I could use my Carter not too simple, but it's like the too simple. And I got a clean break, just held. Matthews V3X, man. I'm running a spot hog with it. The spot hog slides right through the middle of the riser. Super dope, great system. And so now we are just kind of picking up the pieces, and then we're gonna load this up and ride on out. September. Never thought I would go antelope hunting instead of elk hunting. I'm losing it, man. Buck USA, baby. Post Falls, Idaho. My next door neighbor. All right, guys. I'm gonna pack this off the mountain. Just wanted to shout out to everybody elk hunting today. I know you guys won't see this video till months after, but just thinking about all the people elk hunting today and how lucky we are to do this and to be able to leave the bullshit behind that the world has to offer and come up here in the mountains, see this beautiful sky, and then to wake up under the stars and hike in the dark and chase bugles. It's gonna be awesome. I just want to give another shout out to anyone who ever came to one of my ElkShape camps, man. Put that knowledge to use. Be mobile. Don't start hiking uphill with the puffy on. You're gonna start sweating. Start hiking cold. Get high. Glass. Move fast. Work hard. Don't squander any time in the mountains, and give everything you got, because this September is gonna go by fast. They always do. And then we'll be back to the drawing board, guys. So welcome to the 2021 Public Land Hustle. Let's go. Peanut butter, bacon, vacuum sealed. Made a mistake, forgot to add honey. It's the smokiest. We don't have cell phone service. I bet the air quality is the worst I've ever been in. I heard that you can get coronavirus COVID-19 Delta Airlines variant if you are in smoke. So I'm looking forward to that.